4, 5. I'll go into that more. So in the body, can you find joy in the body? Good to see you again. The body, we become aware. Breathing in, the breath is a part of the body. The lungs are part of the body, right? When you breathe, and you take it for granted that it doesn't bring joy. But for me, mindful breathing has become my best friend. Anywhere and everywhere, anytime, where I am, I have learned to come back to my breath. And it's like the best friend that is always there for you. You always think, oh, can I find somebody to be my friend, to love me and accept me exactly the way I am. I can say anything and that person will understand me and will get me, right? But can you ever find anybody who can be with you 24 hours a day? And if you are with somebody 24 hours a day, you may get really irritated, right? But the breath has been there. Since the moment we were born until now, we have breathed millions of times, but we don't pay attention to it. But when we pay attention to the breath, the mind anchors in the breath, and the mind is not free to go off into some negative thoughts, worries, and anxieties. You see? And in Chinese character, the breath is written like this. Okay? The upper character in Vietnamese is tự, which means from, and it also means itself. Okay? And this character down here means tâm, heart, good, mind. Okay? So the breath, check this out, is the heart, the mind, is from the heart, from the mind. The breath is the heart, the mind itself. So when you're angry, how do you breathe? You breathe differently, right? Your breath is short, laborious, quick, right? And you feel your body, your chest is really hot. And when you're sad, you breathe differently. You sigh, like I used to, like this when I was a child. I already suffered a lot, and I used to sigh, and my grandma would say, "Don't keep sighing like that. This family will go poor because you keep sighing like that." So that's a belief in Vietnam. When you keep sighing, you make your parents go poor. And so the breath tells you a lot about the state of mind that you are in. You may not be aware that you may not be aware that you are depressed. You may not be aware that you feel really bad about yourself. Or you get drowned in those thoughts and those feelings. But when you bring your mind back to the breath, you become aware of yourself, and you can follow the breath for a while. In breath, out breath. Okay, I'm okay. It's going to be okay. This too shall pass. I'm here with myself. It's okay. You see, you talk yourself through it. You listen to your breath. And amazingly enough, when your mind is with your breath, the breath becomes calmer. And thus, your mind becomes calmer and quieter, and it's more manageable. Those thoughts and feelings that seem so overwhelming, they become more manageable because your mind quiets down. You see, and your breath is more your breathing pattern becomes more comfortable. Everything about your body tells you about your mind. The mind you cannot see, you cannot touch, you cannot smell, but you can see the mind through your whole body. When you're angry, you make a fist, right? Your hands clench up like this. When you're angry, you walk very heavily, right? Your body is so agitated in every way. Your voice, your speech, everything changes. So learning to be there for your body, to be aware of your body and of your breathing, helps you to understand yourself. And guess what? When you can understand yourself, when you can be there for yourself regardless of how you feel, it is the deepest joy. It is the greatest joy. Because when we are overwhelmed by our feelings and our perceptions and our thoughts, we feel so helpless. We feel so hopeless. You know, we fall into this chasm, this black hole of despair. It's, and you can just stay. Actually taste joy. I can be here for myself. I can take care of myself. You see? And so by being there for your body, you are actually being there for your feelings. In a so many years of my life. And yet, if you ask me about my depression, I couldn't tell you much about it. I could tell you I was depressed. But the root cause of my depression, how it affected me, how it traumatized my mind, my body, my whole life, I couldn't tell you. How I could take care of it, I couldn't tell you. Bless. With my breathing, with my body, I gained a sense of trust and confidence in myself. I can be there. Whatever the situation is, I can be there for myself. And that is a deep joy. It's a real power that we can cultivate. We may think, oh, I wish I wish I were whatever. I wish I were Asian. I wish I were Caucasian. I wish I were black. Right? We always want to be somebody. We always feel quiet in our body, ourselves. But when we learn to hold our own hands, to hold our own body, and to say, I'm here, it's okay. I've learned to tell myself, I love you. I love you. So many times a day. Like before I came to this talk, instead of, reading more, or I don't know, there are many things people do to prepare for a talk. Before, what I did, I lay in bed and I breathed and I told myself, I love you. That's what I did for a long time. And then I got out a hand massager, and I just massaged myself. And I breathed and I say, I love you. Thank you for all the efforts that you make today and every day. And it just felt really calming. I could be there for myself. And it's that deep joy that I cultivate and I take befriend your in-breath as it is, breathing in. Just befriend that in-breath. Say hello, in-breath. And as you breathe out, say hello, out-breath. Hi. It's okay. It's okay. Help me to take care of you. Help me to love you. A few months ago, I think it was in July, we had a family retreat. And I took care of the teenagers. And on the first day, the whole retreat, Brother Peace and I took care of these teenagers. We had all activities outdoor, so that we didn't have to wear the mask. And the first day, all the teenagers, or most of them, wore masks, even though we were outdoor. The second day, some of them removed their masks as they became more comfortable. The third day, pretty much all of them removed their masks, except 2 or 3. Then during that retreat, I actually learned something new. Of course, we wear a mask to protect ourselves and others from, right? But through this pandemic, the mask has also served another function. Have you discovered it? It is to mask our own feelings, to put a distance between ourselves and others. So one particular teenager, he suffered so badly anxiety during this pandemic. He was fine when he came to us in the twins program, just a fine child. Came back, he was in the teens program, and he was so anxious. It was heartbreaking. He dressed in sweatpants and sweatshirts, and his hood he would cover all the way. I don't know how he even saw the road with the mask on, and his hood tied. You couldn't see his facial skin at all. And that whole time he wouldn't eat with us, because that meant he had to remove his mask. I mean, he would show up, he would sit in the corner all covered up and look away. But bless him, he showed up. He didn't show up to all activities. But when he showed up, he wouldn't make eye contact. We couldn't see his eyes even. And so slowly I befriended him, and I tried to talk to him. And then on the 4th day, he actually removed his mask. He was talking with me for the first time. As we were talking, there was a group of children, mind you, children. They walked by and they were many feet away. And when he heard the sound of the children, he was shaking so badly. He tried to put his mask on. He couldn't even put his mask on right, because he was just fumbling, he was just tremoring badly. You know, such social anxiety he suffered from. So he wore that mask actually for the whole retreat. And he only removed the mask one time when we were doing the beginning anew, right? And it was so revolutionary. It was was so amazing. And the teens loved him and, you know, really included him in everything. And he did open up. He opened up a little bit, but still he really did not feel comfortable. So pay attention to your feelings, your thoughts. When you feel anxious, when you feel isolated, when you feel scared, like you see a bug, a spider, what's your first reaction? What's your first reaction? Probably your heart rate increases, right? Your respiratory rate increases, your whole body tenses up. So that's natural. That's a fight or flight or freeze response. Okay? Or freeze stress response. So we usually adapt one of these mechanisms to respond to stress, and it also, of course, it depends on the situation, right? In some situation, naturally your body will just fight back. And in some other situation, you just run away. So your nervous system makes that assessment very quickly. So sometimes when you are in a very, very difficult situation, like somebody is attacking you or you're in an accident, you know, however the body responds, that's its wisdom in that moment. Okay? Or you simply freeze or check out or withdraw or shut down. That's the freeze response. That is to maximize your survival chance. So we all have this, and as children, sometimes we can go through such trauma too. You know, like you haven't seen your friends. You don't get to play with them, to talk with them normally like before. Okay? Or sometimes the arguments between parents, between you and your siblings, between you and your friends, or if they reject you, all of that can cause such, you know, trauma to your body and your mind, such effects. So we go through this fight, flight, or freeze stress response. But then it can also become a lifelong adaptation, a lifelong coping mechanism. So sometimes we also get stuck in that fight response. So children who suffer from certain traumas grow up and just they fight constantly. They just, you know, react all the time. Even though, you know, the situation doesn't seem that severe, but it has become a habit, you see? Or you always run away. There are adults who run away. Whatever good thing that happens to them, they will say, I'm not good enough for it. I don't deserve it. I'm just gonna run away from that person. You know, that person loves me. No, that person doesn't really love me. Or I don't deserve that person. So you run away. Or that job or that degree, I can't do it. So you're almost there, you're almost finished, and yet you walk away because you don't feel that you deserve it. And it all can take place very early on in our life. And it becomes a habit, a pattern. And we act as if, oh, that's just the way I am. That's how I think. But it is not who you are. It has its deep root from within. You see? Now that you are young, as teenagers and as tweens, as young adults, and when you recognize this, oh, I'm in a fight response right now. I'm in a fight mode. I have adapted this flight mechanism, this check out, withdrawn mechanism. So your first response, instead of going into this immediately, you can actually learn to just breathe. Okay, something very scary just happened. Okay, just breathe. Just be still, just relax. It's okay. So if something happens in that moment, and instead of going into one of these responses, you can come back to your breath, and you can relax your body, and you can calm down your feelings. You can talk yourself through it. You actually don't have to get stuck in this moment or years to come. You see what I mean? You recognize it in that very moment. Or even if it has become a habit for you, you can also call it by its true name. Oh, it's a fight response. I've done this for many years of my life. Breathe. It's okay. I don't have to be a victim anymore. You see? So it's so incredibly important for us to be aware of this. Now, like my niece, Sune, she has already learned to, nowadays, neuroscientists, people use the word self-regulate. It means to just calm the body and the mind, okay? To bring it back into equilibrium. She has already learned to self-regulate, to calm her emotions with YouTubes, with movies, with games. She said, I need to relax. That means I need to go to my electronics. I need to relax. Yes, it is a way to relax, for sure. But it is also a way to escape ourselves. You see? Because when you feel so full, right? Full of emotions, full of negative thoughts and judgments towards yourself or others, you go to watch a movie, you play a video game, you do whatever. Forget about it, the situation. The movies that you watch, the games that you play, all have its own content. Violence, of fear, of sadness, of restlessness, right? It has its own triggering effects. So in that moment, forget about situation, and you pour more water in, and so it just builds out and spills out. You see? So that's what we do. We escape ourselves by going to entertainment, going to the social media, going to do something to forget ourselves. But that doesn't empty the cup. It just makes the cup keep feeling full. And when you go back to school, or you go back to your homework, or you go back to your situation, you're stressed all over again. And then so what do? Then you want to escape it. Then you want to go back to your electronics. So it creates a vicious cycle, and it creates miserable feelings in us. So if we learn to come back to our body and relax it, you lie down like this, you relax, you say, it's okay, relax, I'm here, These feelings that cause me angst, pain right here, or it causes me to feel like I'm choking, right? Your throat feels really tight, or you feel there's a knot right here, underneath your sternum, or underneath your belly button, right? You feel like there's a knot right there, or really tight in your body. You breathe and you say, relax, it's okay, I'm sorry you're feeling this way. I'm sorry, help me to take better care of you. You're actually truly taking care of yourself. You're actually alleviating, emptying the thoughts and the feelings, calming them down. For the present moment, you're taking care, and also later, the next day, 1 year later, 5 years later, when you think back of that experience, if you practice with it, then you have a feeling of peace, a feeling of confidence. Oh, I was able to take care of myself. I am able to take care of myself, you see? But if you go through a traumatic experience in your body and in your mind, now, tomorrow when you think of it, your body goes into stress again. 5 years later, 10 years later, when you recall the experience, the trauma takes place all over again. Does it make sense? So let us listen to one sound of the bell. Then, let's say there's a feeling that is arising that is quite unpleasant. So instead of reacting to it, of running away from it, escaping it, or getting drowned in it, let us learn to use our first response as the breath. Go back to the breath. Just like breathe, breathe, relax. I can take care of this. It's okay. Just relax the body. And so you are relaxing the feelings, giving it time and space. And that to me is real joy. It's like when you're eating broccoli or carrots or tofu. It's not very exciting, but you know it's good for you. And you don't get a stomach afterwards, you know? And if you chew slowly, the broccoli actually is quite sweet, right? And it's quite tasty, right? Yeah. So it's like that. That's the joy of practice. It's like eating broccoli. One time a teenager, he came to the group, the Dharma sharing group, and then he said, Sister D, today I ate a cookie, my favorite kind of cookie, very mindfully. And it tasted like cardboard. And it's true, the things that you like Cheetos or whatever, pizzas, it's good only because you eat it very fast. And because you are playing your video games or watching your movie or you're talking, it's only good because you are doing it with forgetfulness. You see? But when you eat it slowly, you're like, ew, what am I eating? So it's like that. For many things in our lives, we think it brings us happiness, it makes us, happy, whatever. But when you look deeply into it, when you really see it for what it is, you're like, why am I doing this? Why am I watching these movies one after another? They don't have any meaning. They don't really nourish me. I feel sick. I haven't gone to the toilet for the last 3-5 hours, watching one movie after another. Why am I doing this to myself? And when you can ask yourself that to me is enlightenment. Okay? Help. We think that our parents are supposed to take care of us, right? Yes, they're supposed to take care of us. And some of them do a pretty good job, and some of them, they're not capable of taking good care of us because they're not able of taking good care of themselves. You see? But we have to be proactive. We have to learn, because even if our parents do our best to take care of us, and if we don't want to, we don't help them, they cannot. cardboard. And it's true, the things that you like Cheetos or whatever, pizzas, it's good only because you eat it very fast. And because you are playing your video games or watching your movie or you're talking, it's only good because you are doing it with forgetfulness. You see? But when you eat this, you're like, ew, what am I eating? So it's like that. For many things in our lives, we think it brings us happiness, it makes us, happy, whatever. But when you look deeply into it, when you really see it for what it is, you're like, why am I doing this? Why am I watching these movies one after another? They don't have any meaning. They don't really nourish me. I feel sick. I haven't gone to the toilet for the last 3-5 hours, watching one movie after another. Why am I doing this to myself? And when you can ask yourself that, that's the enlightenment. Okay? Help. We think that our parents are supposed to take care of us, right? Yes, they're supposed to take care of us. And some of them do a pretty good job, and some of them, they're not capable of taking good care of us because they're not able of taking good care of themselves. You see? But we have to be proactive. We have to learn, because even if our parents do our best to take care of us, and if we don't help them, they cannot take care of us. So I hope when you become more and more aware of the deep joy, the broccoli, the carrot joy, and you choose that because you see that the other kind of the chocolate joy, the electronics joy is not real joy, then you ask your parents, Mom, can you please lock up my iPad? Can you just please give me 1 hour a day access to it or something, it will be revolutionary if you can do that. It will be very difficult to do that. But that is true love, because I work and I see how it affects the development of your brain. It's full of potential, it's limitless. And yet when we pay attention only to certain things, like we play video games, we watch, my niece is so good. She serves through, she can go on Google and type in my name and check out all the talks that I've given. She does it so fast, I'm like, whoa. She's so good at it. And the young people nowadays are so good at it. But when you're so good at that one thing, but you don't go out and play, play basketball, volleyball, you don't jog, you don't swim, you don't interact with friends, you don't, go to nature, like you're only good at one thing, a few things, and the rest of you, you're not developed. Okay, you will become emotionally fragile. You're not able to take care of your own emotions. And so you escape. You have your escape. But wherever you go, there you are. And that's suffering, you see. So I think of this image. From the seeds, right? These seeds. And one seed to a tree. trauma. Trauma for the loss of a grandma. That has planted in us, and it manifests as certain habits, as certain coping mechanism. Then we just want to withdraw. We don't want to go out. You see, so habits. And this is like the difficult situation or the trauma. Because experience a very difficult event, the body contracts. There are very difficult feelings, mental formations, that we have anger or we have sadness, we have pain. We doubt ourselves, we no longer have confidence. So these are different mental states. The perceptions. Oh, I'm not good enough to be happy. That was my fault. To me, that was my fault. We go through all this, and the fifth vigilance. We become scared. So that trauma is like a seed in our mind. It manifests as certain habits. We withdraw, we escape. I myself, I used to bite my nail all the way down. That when I wash my hands, it felt like electric shock, you know? So a boss, see? So see this in yourself. What kind of things that you're in you that is going through trauma. My chest. I say, it's okay, I'm here. Help me to take good care of you. So we learn to develop these trees will give more seeds, you see? Trees. So they just go like a cycle. Like I he said, when I and I see by herself, I walk up to her. Now I look beautiful. Walk to another And if that girl or that boy looks different, it can determine your life, a life of freedom or a life of servitude. To hold our own body. You're good enough. Thank you for all the efforts you're making. And don't give whatever. Don't give it. It's not true. You see, somebody can only get. We say very mean things to ourselves. We are the ones who continue those mean things, say, you're stupid, you're not good enough, you're this and that. You see? But we can learn to undo and to say, thank you for being, thank you for trying. Enough. You know what? I've even learned to say, you are all. I no longer feel that I lack anything. I don't have to myself anybody else. Comparing yourself. You say, oh, you know, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not good like, you know, that next person. Comparing yourself, you see? So it's like we go through life putting ourselves on auction or something. Again, oh, look at me, I'm not, you, some acknowledgement, I'll be your slave. Body, feelings, of different mental states, of our perception. The greatest power, the power that we will not act ourselves, we will not abandon ourselves, we will not abuse ourselves. Whatever people done to us, they are gone. Let us not continue that trauma or that abuse. You see? Let us give ourselves a new chance every moment by coming back to the breath, coming back to the body. And to say, I love you. I'm whole. Keep trying. In our mind, in my mind, let not water the seed of despair. of violence, of hatred. Let's be kind. You see, I have learned to choose that. When we are afraid, we tend to reject others. Whatever we do to ourselves, we do to others. And whatever we do to others, surely we're doing it to ourselves. But if every moment you learn to embrace yourself, your first response will not be the fight, the flight, or the freeze response. Your first response is not exclusion. It's not pushing away. First, come back to your breath, to your body, to your feelings, and just to be there for them. And whatever happens, I can be. Because I've done it one time, I can do that again and again. And that is a deep, deep joy, you know. Three. So, okay, let us enjoy one sound of the bell. So let us take the last few minutes for me to ask the last few days from this talk also, and cultivate joy in yourself. Can you raise your hands, come? Help me out. Can you say yes? How? One of the ways that you see you can. Good.
And people that in general I just have a fun time with.
Second way, come.
People that I like to have fun with.
Okay, so be around people that I care about, that I have fun with. Togetherness. You know, when we by ourselves, like all these exercises, like when we practice with others, like we may not know each other's names, even though we may not know each other. Being like this, when we walk quietly together, when we sit quietly together, we feel safe. You see, it's amazing. You feel safe. Essential feeling. That's when healing can happen all the time, or we're so isolated all the time. It's healing. So being together with those you love, those that can, is very important to your growth and to your healing. Self, like what worthy of love. Yes, my dear, you're very worthy of love. Here and there. What about you, Lan? And what else, Kang?
Because there's a lot of negative stuff on there.
It can bring.
No, there's a lot of negative stuff.
It can negative thoughts. Okay. Stay off social media. It can bring up anything. Respect.
Like eating foods that are healthy and like getting sleep.
Eating foods that are healthy and getting enough sleep. Yes. Anybody else? Go. Being with others. Wonderful. Some of the ways you can show your kindness. To be respectful to everybody, right? Also shows respect towards yourself, right? When you respect yourself, naturally you will respect others. And when you respect others, that is respecting yourself. Wonderful, Kang. Okay. Anybody else? In yourself.
Getting a deeper understanding of yourself. Gaining a deeper understanding of yourself.
Gaining a deeper understanding of yourself. Yay! Can you hear that? Through the mask. Okay, would you say it again, Kang? Yeah. Make you happy. Who bring you down? Wonderful. Exactly. And you know what? When you think positive, you act. You see? Look beautiful, you know. Some people, they prey on that. They see the way you walk, the way you look, the way you talk about yourself, and they judge. Say, oh, person, that I can discriminate. So like trauma begets further trauma because of the way we carry ourselves. And unkind people, they will take advantage of that. But when we learn to embrace our own pain, like our teacher taught, pain is inevitable. Okay? When you have pain in the body, you cannot. When you lose something, you lose somebody, when something happens. So pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Okay? Suffering is optional. It means that we don't have habits of putting ourselves down, of perpetuating that abuse, that trauma, of making ourselves vulnerable to people's and abuse. You see? Because we can hold ourselves. We have respect and dignity in ourselves. And we trust we can take care of ourselves. We don't auction ourselves. I don't have to compare myself with anybody. If somebody who's more talented to me, oh, I'm so glad. Okay? Something, I it, then I keep developing it. But I don't have to compare. All different. We don't like anybody else. We only need to be ourselves, the best of ourselves. And that is a deep, deep. Let us enjoy and touch that deep truth that we have in our body, we have in our mind. We know what we need to do to take better care of ourselves. The whole universe. And we want to choose that. Okay? It's a practice. It's a daily choice. Nobody. It's all there, but you have to generate it. You have to bring it into yourself. Joy is in your body. Joy is there in your feelings, in your thoughts. Choose it in a positive way. Let us enjoy 3 sounds of the bell.